What's going on, everybody? Card here from Forge 4x4. Behind me is Hades, our Jeep Wrangler 392 with the world's first ever Stage 5 3-liter Whipple Supercharger on it. This thing was in R&D for over 8 months with our friends at Whipple out of Fresno, California. And once we got it back, we knew we had to put some major upgrades on this thing to make sure it was safe, functional, and of course, the most badass thing on the street. Here are my top 3 upgrades that you need to do if you ever put a supercharger on your Jeep Wrangler 392. All right, for starters, you cannot overlook a good steering kit on a Whipple Supercharged Jeep Wrangler 392. In general, anytime we lift our rigs, we definitely want to make sure that's taken care of. So we went with the Deutsch Off-Road steering kit, including these 7075 aluminum memory metal 2-inch tie rod and drag link. This setup is fantastic. When you're going on the road, it's crazy stabilized, and you can even make some adjustments right here with this Falcon Nexus 2.2 shock. When we originally got it, it was set to soft, and driving on the freeway, I was like, wow, this suspension's really soft, and the steering is definitely off, but changing it to firm definitely loosens it up. This shock is also gonna help you absorb any sudden changes, so if you hit a rock or something, it's gonna make sure that it doesn't rip the steering wheel out of your hand. Deutsch Off-Road always does fantastic kits. I recommend it on any modified Jeep and even stock Jeeps. It'll really stiffen up your suspension. Plus, if you bang this up against a rock, this memory metal is gonna bend right back to place. They have a lifetime warranty on it, and they always make really good stuff. There's a reason why we put this steering kit on all of our rigs. Behind the steering kit sits this incredible Ultimate Dana 60 axle set to 5/38 gear ratio. This is what really sets this rig apart and make sure that you're gonna be able to get it on and off the trail. Upgrading with so much power with that Whipple Supercharger, we had to upgrade to 1-ton axles, especially with 38-inch tires. That 5/38 gear ratio is gonna give you better miles per gallon than if you were to go lower, and also is gonna make that throttle response really responsive with so much power going directly to those wheels. It's a must-have upgrade for any Whipple Supercharged Jeep. Now, the last upgrade that you have to do if you put a Whipple Supercharger on your Jeep Wrangler 392 is the suspension. We went the SDI E-clik suspension, which in full transparency, I was not that excited about putting on our rig. We've used Falcon, we've used King, we've used Fox, but I've never used SDI E-clik. After talking to them, going through the technology, I said, you know what, let's try it out and see how it works. Worst case scenario, we could switch it out. But since we've installed it, I am absolutely in love with this adaptive suspension. You got piggyback shocks on the front and back, and with the turn of a knob, you could make some really fine-tuned adjustments. So if you're driving on the street and want a little bit tighter turns and cornering, you can make that adjustment. If you take it off-road to the sand, that suspension is gonna loose up and just eat up the trails. This is now one of my favorite suspensions that we're gonna put on our Jeeps. Obviously, anytime you're modifying a Jeep, there's a limitless amount of things that you could do to it. These 3 modifications are ones that you have to have in order to make sure you're safe on the road, make sure it's going to perform for the lifetime of this vehicle, and the last thing you want to do is get stuck on a trail. So with that 3 combo of the axle, the tie rod, and the steering kit, and the suspension, you're going to make sure that you are having a lot of fun and staying safe at the same time, which is kind of important.
This just in. Carter lies about his top 3 Jeep mods. Apparently there are more mods he likes and can't make up his mind. Let's see what he has to say.
With so much power going to these 38-inch monsters, we had to make sure to upgrade the drive shaft. You just got to think the amount of torque that's coming to the front and the back is insane, especially when you put a Whipple Supercharger on it. So anytime you have bigger tires, it's more force that needs to move. And so this was a necessary upgrade. We went with the Ultimate Dana front drive shaft here, which is something that is often overlooked, but you definitely need it. The last thing you want to do is lose the drive shaft out there. The Jeep Wrangler 392 is an all-time 4-wheel drive, which means you are getting power to the front axle even when you're driving on the street. So we wanted to make sure for longevity reasons to replace that. Now there's a couple mods that you don't have to do, but we wanted to do to make sure the undercarriage is protected. And this is the R-Tech skid plates that we powder coated in the Jeep Wrangler 392 bronze. It's protecting that MagnaFlow suspension, especially in the back. You got these pretty black tips that we wanted to make sure was protected. And now you could really off-road this thing. I mean, you're probably gonna be going pretty fast, and the last thing you wanna do is have a rock sneak up and knock something important out. So these skid plates are gonna allow you to get up and over obstacles, and also, worst case scenario, if you bang something up here, you're not gonna ruin your Jeep. So you've seen the Dana 60 in the front, but we also have a Dana 60 on the back. This pair is a $20,000 upgrade. That's insane. The 2.5-inch Piggyback shocks by SDI E-clik just allows for ultimate control on and off the road. I can't say enough good things about these two companies. They do fantastic work. Check them out because I'm in love with this solution for the Jeep Wrangler 392. Building this beast took over a year, had numerous partners, and we couldn't have done it without our friends at Deutsch Off-Road. They're the ones who recommended putting new axles on it, suspension, and of course, their awesome steering kit. Those are my top 3 upgrades that you have to put on a Jeep Wrangler 392 if you are crazy enough to supercharge it. Now, no need to build your own. You could win this one simply by going to forge4x4.com. Claim your entries to win before the deadline because just like our other 13 giveaways, this one will be gone before you know it. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite build is and maybe we missed something. I don't think we did. We literally went from top to bottom, left, right, up, down, inside, outside, but you could win this thing just by going to forge4x4.com. But leave a comment below and let me know if there's something else you think we should add because no build is ever complete, right? Thanks for watching.